some brothers that outlive me. They gon' tell the story.
Hey there. Like Mike said, I'm a freelance writer and editor, which means that I'll be retiring when I'm 97. About 2 years after I pay off my student loans. Being a freelancer has actually got some perks, like I get to work in my pajamas for most of the day. But then, there's those red letter days where I actually put on a bra. And then like Saturday, I actually took a shower. And tonight, I did one of those two for you guys, and I'll let you guess which one. I lived in Berlin for a little while, and it was great, but the language is awful. If you've ever heard German, it's pretty bad. Plus, it's a very difficult language to learn. And German was the third language I tried to become fluent in and failed miserably at, so I consider myself a trilingual illiterate. And anyone who's ever tried to learn another language knows that they put these words in the other languages to trip you up, the people who are learning it. They sound like English words, but there's nothing to do with them. Like in Spanish, embarazada, not embarrassed. Pregnant. We do it in English. The word football in English means something completely different in every other country in the world. In German, the word for thick is dick. So you can imagine my glee as a copy editor when I go into a Mexican restaurant in Berlin one day and they hand me an English language menu, and I'm looking at it, sopes. 2 small dick tacos filled with rice and beans. And that answered the question, why does everyone leave looking so unsatisfied? Not very filling. If you can tell from my accent, I'm from New York, Long Island, or Wrong Island, Strong Island, whatever you want to call it. Growing up, everyone around me had an accent. I didn't know I had an accent because everybody else put W's in their coffee too. It wasn't until I went away to Michigan, school in Michigan, that I learned that I had an accent, because I don't know this. Anyone from Michigan? Good. Michiganders claim to have the accentless accent. Bullshit. But I certainly had an accent that stood out. So my first week in the dorm, I go across the hall. These guys are playing Pauly Shore. We saw it earlier. It's coming here. Pauly playing his album, and I walked in and went, oh my God, you guys are playing Pauly Shore. And there was silence, and then one guy snorted. You mean Pauly Shore? And I went, no. Pauly is a fucking dude. Polly is a chick. And he went, okay. And then that's when I started to try to lose my accent. So have you guys seen those commercials to take your DNA tests? And you see the people up there like, oh my God, I'm not Native American? I took the test a few weeks ago, and there were some surprises, but most of it I knew. Like, I knew I was 50% Jewish, no big surprise there. My mom's side is a whole bunch of European mutts, Scandinavian, Irish, German, whatever. But then the 8% at the bottom, I'm 8% West African. I'm pretty sure that 8% is what is keeping me from being 100% transparent. So my dad was the one responsible for that 50% Jewish. And he married my mother, who liked to celebrate Christmas. Her side celebrated Christmas. I don't know what her religion was. Or still is. Sorry, Mom. But I think my dad married my mother specifically so he could celebrate Christmas, because he had never done it before. This was his absolute favorite holiday. Every year, I'm not kidding, he would dress up as Santa Claus and walk around going, ho, 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 anybody want to buy some toys? It was really easy to spot my house at holiday time. We had very unusual holiday decorations. In addition to the menorah above the Christmas stockings, my dad insisted on putting a parking meter on the roof. So this made me very confused about religion growing up. I didn't know, all the kids in school, what? Santa only comes once a year? He comes to my house 9 times. What are you talking about? It didn't help that my brother and sister had a father who lived in Cincinnati. And they were 10 years older, and they referred to him as our father who art in Ohio. So I was convinced that God lived in Ohio. That's where heaven was, obviously. So at that point, I was determined to never, ever die because there was no way I was spending an eternal afterlife in the Midwest. But at least I knew now where the term Holy Toledo comes from. Thank you very much.
God's plan. I hope that
Jenna, let her hear you.
I feel good sometimes.
Oh, yeah. That was my stripper voice. Oh, yeah. Coming to the stage.